My name is Henrik Olsson. I live in Copenhagen. I'm Swedish. I play guitar.
I'm Ola Rubin. I'm also Swedish, living in Sweden, in Malmö. I play trombone. Yeah, so that's.
So you two duo. And
This
is
duo.
one duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Daniel Lercher and I live in Vienna and I play electronics in our duo.
I'm Henrik Nørstebø in English. I live in Berlin. I'm Norwegian. Play trombone and some electronics and sound files also. Trying to outshine Daniel as much as I can.
And that's the purpose of music, to outshine each other.
Outshine.
Yeah.
The purpose of duo playing, right?
That's also very special. Today, 2 duos and 2 trombones.
Trombone.
That's
2
nice.
Henrik also.
And 2 Henrik also. yeah. And the very
rare.
strong northern people. So
There's a lot of tension between Norwegian and Swedish people.
Exactly.
I've
been feeling
the
that
history. So that's why
I'm sitting.
You are sitting between
mediator.
the neutral Austrians. But let's go on. Your performance tonight, it's always this kind of question. Was it fully improvised, or did you have some prepared thoughts, prepared pieces or soundscapes?
Our set was fully improvised, but it's also, it's not a complete surprise for us how we sound when we start to play. It's maybe not so much a thing we have in a good way. I mean this. It's not the aesthetic of us or our music. It's nothing that we have talked hugely about, because we felt like it kind of happened naturally. But
it always happens when we play. It's just the sound of us coming is completely different from everything else I play.
Yeah,
and we haven't. I haven't played with you in like a year. This is the first time in a year, and it feels like it's just where we picked up last time. It's not, but it's fully improvised, 100%.
Of course, you can go into what improvised, what fully improvised is and stuff like that. But it's like, I bring my guitar, so I know that, and I bring the preparations and stuff like that. I know how they sound, but in terms of like forms, we don't really have any preconceived forms that we talk about or anything like that.
Okay.
Do you want to
answer?
answer?
Should we change? You want to answer?
I think for our duo it's quite of the same. That we have this certain sound material that we know each other, but we don't have this form, or we also don't talk about the form before. So it's also improvised in this sense.
And that's very. Let's go on. Very special. We have 2 duos. What's so special playing duo compared solo or with more than 2? What? And maybe the second question: what brought you 2 together? And the third question within: and why are you still playing together? Let's go.
I have forgotten the first one.
Let's start with the.
It's a lot of things to say. Maybe it's my favorite format in a way. There's a lot of freedom in it and a lot of space. We can you have the at least possibility to leave a lot of space, and you can also, how should I say it? There's so many ways to approach it, and it's in a way freer than, or not freer is not the right word, but Oh my God.
More secure or more?
No, rather the opposite. But it's like the. Yeah, you have the ability to go in contrast and go with, and it's never gets as crowded as in like a big ensemble or. Yeah, maybe we should just move on.
I mean, I agree with you in a lot of ways, and we met in a large ensemble.
Yeah,
that's
how
where we met,
yeah.
and I don't know how we decided to play duo, but we did.
No, I can't really remember, but it was. Yeah, that's. What was the third question? It was
why you still?
It's
within.
We
it
met.
shows
We
that
played in a large ensemble, and somehow we met again, and just two of us. Some kind of. And I can speak for myself. I just the sounds Henrik did, but I never heard it before, and that would just open my mind. And
and again we haven't really talked about it because sometimes when I can feel that when there is a big need for talking about it, then it's maybe it can come to a certain point, and then it's just okay. Maybe we should just quit or no, I don't know. But you cannot make an ultimate statement like that because it's not totally black and white. And in some groups, it's also good to talk about what things you are doing. Like patterns that you run into and stuff like that, and try to break them up. But we haven't. It's so there's a long time period between all our gigs, so it feels like we never get the chance to start up. Like it would be nice to have like 10 gigs, and then because feels like we never really started. But maybe it's just that's a general feeling of musicians. I don't know.
That's also kind of our thing, I think.
Yeah.
It's some kind of it's so fresh and it just stops and it just leaves. We leave it there, and for a long time it's there, and just move on and we come back to it. I think it's kind of interesting, but I wish we could do it in a long period too. I don't know how it would develop. I don't know.
Or maybe it wouldn't develop at all.
So you gave the answer of the third question already. You don't get enough of each other. You're still inspired somehow.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah. Should we? It's this kind of you there. I don't know how you can talk within, but yeah.
No, but I also enjoy not only duos, but can be other groupings, but where there's kind of an obvious sound world or whatever to call it that forms like very early on because of this combination of a certain people, like certain personalities, and the duo is like a conversation. Like when you meet certain people, you can talk about, with some people you talk about one subject for ages and you can really go deep into details about very technical stuff or philosophical, and with other people you skip around because either you have like too many shared interests or you have no interests at all, so you have to like find. So I really enjoy settings that kind of give you like an obvious starting point to work with, and then you can kind of steer it from there. I think our duo is we also started in a large ensemble, so there's even more. In 2010 was like 33 people from Norway, Czech Republic and Austria. And I started at least 2 projects from that large group. But I also don't remember why we started playing duo. We've done it since 2011, I think. And we're also like very kind of rarely playing live together, at least, but we've like made some music together by sending sound files back and forth, and also I'm using Daniel quite often for like mixing and mastering work. So I feel that's part of our collaboration because he knows my music really well, so I can trust him with. There's less explaining needed, and then he can also send me stuff, and I can say like, yeah, that doesn't really work, or like change it like that. So I kind of enjoy that you don't have to meet so often. It's like, yeah, like you guys said, you leave it and then you might change a little bit individually, and then you bring that experience back into the duo.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say because there was this question of why duo. For me, I think like this, that I think it's really hard in general to play music with people. So I think like the easiest thing is to play solo. But then the second easiest is like to play duo, and that's also where I like to stop. Actually, all my projects are duo projects, because when you play solo, like you kind of, I mean, in the best way, you are kind of in control of everything that's happening, and you only communicate with yourself, kind of. But yeah, so. And if it's already 3 people, it's like this exponential curve that it gets much more complicated, and like, yeah, that's my feeling.
It was interesting, all the 2 sets of you. For example, your set, I had this kind of feeling. A lot noise is very important. Some tones, sing tones, and interaction of the frequencies, and the noise, and also the silence. It was very interesting. You had a kind of rhythm, but it was very low, very thoroughly, and that for me it showed that you're interacting very well, because you took us into these soundscapes, yeah, and. Yeah, I can't say there was no kind of this was now not yeah, every point was correct somehow, yeah, and why I ask, do you have sometimes this kind of a feeling, oh, I did a mistake within the improvisation, or where you think, this was this kind of, there is this, yeah, Scheitern in German, Scheitern as chance, or is a failure as an opportunity, or can you tell us something about this? Maybe the first question, the soundscapes you're creating, is this, you thought about this? Because it's let's say non-emotional. Is this, maybe you can correct me, it's more a soundscape where you deep you go into, yeah. And
I mean, the very basic idea when we started the duo was to really have this, because I was also I liked Henrik's sounds so much on the trombone that also, I mean, they have this sound quality where you actually don't know if this is coming from an acoustic instrument. So also this idea was like to have electronics with an acoustic instruments, whereas also these boundaries are blurring, where you also can't really tell what's coming from the electronic side and what is from the acoustic instrument. So this was maybe an idea we kind of started off, and that's also in the electronics. So I built like a program where I get the input from Henrik's microphone, and I can analyze like what he's playing, and I get certain frequencies like that are in the sound that he's playing, and so I'm not altering his sound, but I analyze the sound and I use the information for my sounds. So, and then I have sine tones that are the same frequency, and I can micro tune it, or so you get this beating stuff. And so this is the basic idea of and also this noise sounds, it's like filtered noise, but it's centered around frequencies that he's playing, so it's this very much melting things together.
Yeah, for me it isn't emotional in the sense that I'm connecting it to a specific experience, or there's no like visual, I don't have like, I'm not imagining mountains and rivers and and lava or whatever. But it's still very, it's related to emotions because it is. I want to hit the certain like physical feeling of the sound. That's like meta emotional somehow. So it's still. I've kind of played around a lot with, like playing a noise sound, for example, with the same intention that you would play a melodic, like the third in a scale, or like playing like a nice chord, but except that it's a noise sound or a bass tone, and also the way when there's not so much happening, then every sound has more meaning. So you can kind of create these illusions of a chord, for example, by playing one tone that has maybe a relation to something that happened before in the set. So it's more in this. And with the phrasing, I think it is, in more related to sound sculptures, maybe. And it's not a narrative that's like complete. I really enjoy with this setting that we sometimes it's just cut and then it continues with something else without explaining why it jumped. There's no clear like linear, like you evolve everything from this to this. Sometimes it's just like but that's also not something we've talked about for many years at least.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I start talking. Very often somebody is afraid of talking about it, and you can destroy a lot of things with it. But I think you are able to talk about this. So I think. And also this kind of you stopped, and then somehow you came back. This improvisation that you don't have to play if you don't want to. That was interesting. So.
Yeah, but I think it's at the interesting point now because my music, like my solo music and my other main duo has gotten louder and louder and more compact and more noisy. So I think, and when we started out, I was really into this super minimal music where it was much longer silences than we did today and much softer volumes, and so it's kind of also interesting, like revisiting our duo, which I kind of have a feeling of what I want it to be or what. But then coming from this, my mindset has really shifted also. So
yeah. And now to you, I liked you had very thoroughly used sounds also, both of you, yeah. And then the interesting thing was it's like. You're having sounds after it happened something. I don't know how to describe it. To give the quiet sounds you normally where is it? You managed it to give them representative. I don't know how if you understand it. Yeah. And that's what I really liked it and how you interacted. And this, let's say, I didn't mean it. This is there's not that. I will express myself. It's sure there are emotions, and in yours it's more a communication. It's more you can figure out. There are two. They're interacting like hello. This more like talking or not talking. I don't know. How would you describe it?
Maybe not. I don't think it's more communicating, but it's maybe more like
not
reactive on each other's ideas. Especially how we play tonight, and sometimes it's maybe more like we go, more contrasts can be a little bit different, but and regarding this, I really like to because I like to play with these small sounds that come from the guitar when you actually turn up quite a bit but play very soft. But it has this kind of also fragility in it because you can easily make a loud sound. But I kind of like that because there's a huge difference between that and playing a little bit stronger or like harder but turning down the volume. So, and Ola also have a lot of, there's a lot of things in his sounds that opens up for that kind of exploration. So I don't play solo so much, but when I do, I kind of the ideas that I bring there is also often that I play it in, you know, super loud but soft kind of, and then I feel like I can bring that same mindset somehow to with Ola, because you are also very dynamic.
In both ways, and it's very much about these little sounds from everything, and all this. We're talking about making mistakes, and sure, but it's not mistakes. It's something happens. Maybe it's not what I intended to do, but and he picks up on that, and it's likewise when these small sounds go, and you pick it up and you make something new, and you never thought about what it could be or how it will develop, and it's always different. And it's always about this little small sounds, especially with this guy.
Yeah, but also like believing that it actually is a valid sound, like, you know, making a little tick 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 with a guitar. It's actually a sound I really enjoy, but it's in a way you also have to, I don't know, believe that it's as valid as any other sound. Does it make sense? Or
oh yes,
like,
yes,
I think
that makes sense. It does,
connected to what I said.
Yeah,
It's exactly the same. I think that you get like a certain feeling from playing a sound, and you kind of contextualize it yourself, and then the audience can. In many cases, I think they can pick up that you find this sound important.
Yes, yeah.
Like it could be, if it's played by someone like something random, then I think in the best case the audience can tell the difference between your intention and like a little blink and someone else's blink.
That's good what you say, because I always thought about what is a good performance for you as an improviser, because in the end you are somehow free, but as you said, this kind of being concentrated and to love the sounds. Maybe can you, in German we say x-beliebig, or how is your way of, or how would you describe this was a satisfying improvisation or this was not satisfying? More interested for me. When you're not satisfied, what was it?
Very hard question.
It's, I don't know. It's something with. There's a lot of things that can make you not satisfied. You can look at how you feel, and while doing it, I mean, if you're not feeling totally present. For some reason, maybe you have traveled the whole day, which actually is usually the case. Then it's a little bit like, you feel like you're in a bubble or something. But then again, sometimes you listen to if the concert were recorded, you can listen to it and maybe sounds better than you think. So it's sometimes discrepance, what it's called, between those two things. But a bad concert is when you feel that you can't really somehow come into each other or like make a form that makes sense somehow. I guess you can say it in so many ways, but
I don't think I can explain the feeling when I feel unsatisfied, because I really don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a bad question, but
no, it's not a bad question.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Yeah,
I really don't know. I don't really. Maybe.
No, it's not. Sometimes you also are wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you record, it's like sometimes it felt so bad, but then it's actually sounded good.
I think it's also some project. I feel it's very often that we're agreeing on whether we had a good feeling or not. But whilst other projects, you can totally disagree. But they both can be like projects you feel are really solid, and they're like focus projects.
Yeah.
But it's just But sometimes, for sure, when you listen to a recording of a concert, you felt you were struggling through the whole thing. They can sound much better than the concert where I've had concerts where I felt like I can remember we did some stretching backstage. We had like slept well, we had eaten well, warmed up. We felt like we were gonna crush it, and then the recording sounds kind of, there's no resistance. It's like a okay concert, but it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear this like, oh, this is great. Oh, it's amazing music.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that it's, yeah. But then of course the people that hear it have their own take on it. So
yeah, maybe it's also something with the surprise criteria. When it's not there at all, maybe then it's a little bit boring. I don't know. It's
yeah.
Or it's maybe feels not totally right, but I don't know. It's so hard to talk about because even though you make a sound that you know very well, sometimes it can just make more sense than other times because it's also where you come from in the music and where you're going and what it responds to and yeah, all these things.
Yeah. So, in case the others get bored by the conversation. No, but one last question maybe. How about ending together? How is this?
That was interesting today for us. Right? For you it ended much earlier than for me. And I was thinking like, okay, now either Daniel is loving what I do right now, or he's really hating the concert.
Also classic thoughts. In duo.
But
Did you hope for me to come back in, or?
No, but I know that you like what I do, generally on the trombone at least. Now, like, we've talked about these other elements that I've introduced, which is like closer to what Daniel produces, so it's like it's a different, like, sometimes it feels like infringing on his territory somehow, because our duo setup has been so stripped down for the whole time. But yeah, I was wondering, like, and I knew that he was out kind of, but I kept on playing because I wasn't finished. So that's an interesting moment. And today I also had, like, my sound was quite different in the concert sometimes compared to the sound check. For me, that's maybe one of the hardest things. Where it takes you have to, like, I have a mixer on stage so I can change my volume, I can change my EQing, which is quite useful. So I think stuff like that is more disturbing for me than audience behavior. For example, I've gotten quite good at filtering it out, which is a necessity sometimes.
True.
Okay. That's the ending. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank
Nice
you.
Thank you.
performance.
Good questions.